For the record, my name is Erin Murphy, at-large City Councilor, and I am the Chair of the Boston City Council Committee on Strong Women, Families, and Communities. I may argue the most important committee for the city. Today is March 28th, 2025, and the time is 10:19. This hearing is being recorded. Written comments may be sent to the committee email at ccc.swfc@boston.gov and will be made a part of the record and available to all councilors. Public testimony will be taken at the beginning and throughout the hearing. Individuals will be called on in the order in which they signed up and will have 2 minutes to testify. If you are interested in testifying in person, I already made this announcement, but I'll repeat it. Please add your name to the sign-up sheet, which is still at the entrance. Today's hearing is on an order for a hearing to address programming needs for older adults in the city of Boston. This matter was sponsored by Councilors Benjamin Weber, John Fitzgerald, and Brian Worrell, and was referred to the committee on January 25th, 2025. Today, I am joined by my colleagues in order of arrival: Councilor Mejia, at-large City Councilor Mejia, Councilor Weber, Councilor Braden, and Councilor Fitzgerald. Okay. So, this morning, also welcome. I did have to get the formal introduction out of the way, but good morning, everyone. If you don't know me, I'm Erin Murphy. I'm your city councilor. I'm an at-large city councilor, so I get the privilege, the honor of representing all of the neighborhoods across the city. There may be some councilors here you're meeting for the first time. Councilor Weber is your West Roxbury councilor here. I'd like to thank the Elks for opening up their doors for us for this hearing. Thank also the sponsors who, as soon as we filed this, did ask if we could hold this hearing in the community, because I do think it's important that we make it accessible and easy for you to come, because we do want to hear your voices and how you feel about senior programming. It is a need across the city. We'll be hearing from the administration and different departments about the work they're doing to expand on that. But as councilors, we obviously hear a lot from our constituents about the need to expand on these services. So the flow, just to make sure everyone knows how we'll be doing this, I'll be starting with my colleagues making opening statements. I'll start with the lead sponsors, and then as other colleagues join us, I think a few more will be on their way. We will introduce them and let them have opening statements. Usually we do go right to the administration, but I will be starting with some public testimony. Like I said, I do want to hear from you first. We'll hear from the administration, and then also Ethos will have a presentation, because they are doing wonderful work here, and I know that there was an announcement recently made about an expansion. I have visited, and my team has come here on the 2 days I know that we've had programming here. But thank you for anyone who is outside of the West Roxbury Parkway community. I know that we've reached out to other seniors and communities, neighborhoods across the city. This is obviously an issue citywide, and that's one of the reasons Councilor Fitzgerald, who is District 3, he represents Dorchester in the South End, and also Councilor Worrell, who represents Dorchester, signed on, knowing that this need is a need for our seniors across the city. So as we advocate here in West Roxbury, we know we're lifting the voices of our seniors across the whole city, making sure that we do right by all of you. So thank you for being here, and I will pass it off to my colleague, Councilor Weber, the lead sponsor.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. My name is Ben Weber. I'm the Boston City Councilor for District 6. I represent West Roxbury and Jamaica Plain. I apologize. I'm dealing with a little, I don't know, throat cold thing I got from my daughter, so I'm not socializing today. But for me, this is personal. I'm Jewish. My wife's Catholic. The reason why I mention that is my wife's my father-in-law was a Jesuit, and so he left the order, late in his mid-40s to start a family, and he raised one in Northern Virginia, in Arlington, Virginia. He worked as a carpenter, and as he got into his late 70s, he could no longer work, and he was in Northern Virginia. We were up here. He had congestive heart failure. He'd call me in the middle of the night, having trouble breathing, and I have to call an ambulance. He was having trouble taking care of himself, and we made the decision. He was also renting his house. He couldn't pay his rent anymore, and he couldn't afford to live there. So we made the decision to move him up here to Boston and move him in with us in a small 3-bedroom apartment in Jamaica Plain with my newborn son, my wife, and I, and my father-in-law. And the guy was a philosopher. He would sit around reading all day. He had 10,000 books in his house in Virginia. But moving up here was so difficult for him emotionally and physically. And it really just started he felt isolated. He was missing all the connections he had in Northern Virginia, and cognitively just started showing signs that he wasn't adjusting well. We had him evaluated. He had dementia, and he was dealing with congestive heart failure. Then he had leukemia, and it just went one thing to another. And at a certain point, he lived with us for about 4 years. We took care of him. We managed it. But when we had a second child, we couldn't do this anymore. We got him into memory care, and he lived for a few years in memory care. Honestly, we couldn't afford, sort of the higher end kind of thing you'd get at like Rogerson House. So he was in places at Sherrill House. They took care of him. He no longer wanted to get up from his bed, and he was in decline. But for me, it's so important. The lesson I learned is it's so important to be able to keep seniors in their homes, in their neighborhoods where they've lived their whole lives, to prevent them from being just ripped out of their homes because they can't afford to live there. They can't, they're not working anymore. And so when as I got into this position on the city council, and working with, Age Strong Commissioner Shea, it's so important to me to identify programs that are going to help people to stay here and to live in their homes. And that's also why, I've found a partner in Ethos, which runs this pop-up. And, this pop-up, I think, is just an example of what we can do as a city for our seniors. I've come here not enough. I wish I was here more. But when I've come here, there's seniors who are just, they're making those connections. They have activities. And that's why, we worked with the mayor's office and Age Strong Commissioner Shea to have more programming. And that's, the mayor was here last week, a week and a half ago, to announce that the city's going to expand programming. And I know the chair of this committee, Councilor Murphy, has also been a strong advocate for seniors. And so, I'm really happy to have that extra day of programming that's going to be here. Also, the question is, what's next? What else are we going to do? Because our senior population is growing. It's going to grow fast, and we need to plan and have the resources in place, as to allow people to essentially age in place. And just, I'll end on this. We have a report here. You can contact my office. We'll send you a link. That the city produced from a consultant, Health Management Associates, in October 2024, that looked at the city, what services we're offering, and what recommendations they had. And the report said, it's by 2030 we're going to have 137,000 seniors here in the city of Boston. 1 out of 5 residents will be a senior. And that we need to have dedicated programming and spaces for seniors. The significance of dedicated programming and spaces for older adults cannot be overstated, the report says, especially in addressing social isolation, which poses substantial health risks. Social isolation among older adults is linked to a range of negative outcomes, including increased prevalence of chronic diseases, cognitive decline, and heightened risk of dementia. By prioritizing the development of programs that foster social engagement and community connections, we can mitigate these risks and enhance the overall well-being of Boston's aging population. And what the report goes on to say is we can provide these programs through spaces in two types of locations. One are city constructed senior centers, which we have a few. The other, which they recommend we have a mix, is partner-operated senior centers, which is what we're seeing here, which the mix will allow us to sort of be more nimble in how we provide programming. So it's how do we increase the space here, increase the space across the city. That's why I'm glad we could all be here today to talk about this important issue, and I look forward to the conversation. Thank you, Chair.
We've been joined by Councilor Worrell. Thank you, Councilor Worrell. I'll go to Councilor Fitzgerald first, the other sponsor.
Absolutely. Thank you, and good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good, good, good to see you all. Listen, the need for senior activity in a senior center, not just in West Roxbury, but in other neighborhoods as well that are very family-oriented, is a necessity. And I'll tell you why. I've got my own kids. I've got three. They're 7, 5, and 3. And I love the fact that they can go and see Nana, right? And that Nana's local, Nana's around, Nana wants to stay. I also tell you who else needs Nana. I need Nana, okay? So I can go on date night with the missus. And can you watch the kids? And can you do this? And can you pick up from school? To keep families in the city, it is so important to keep the generations together, right? Not just as to grow a healthy family, but it also provides that stability long term. You can pass down the houses, you can pass on tradition, you can take on these things. And so it is important that as we age, we make sure we are active, we are able, and we are able to be there for our kids and our grandkids. And I hope that is my goal out in Dorchester. We do not have a senior center in Dorchester, and I would love one because it's a very family-oriented community over there as well. And so that is really the point of this, right? What is it going to take? And we know it's an uphill battle. We know money's not on our side right now, and we know budget's going to be tough. And we'll talk about all these things in that hearing. But the point is we've got to start planning now so that that can happen for generational families to stay, stick together, be close, keep an eye on one another, like Councilor Weber was discussing. These are important things, right? So we all feed off each other, and I just hope that this will be the start of getting that conversation really moving, and thank you all for inviting me today.
Thank you. Councilor Worrell?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, everyone, for being here. Similar to what my colleagues have said, right? It's making sure that we're investing in every phase of life for Boston residents. I grew up in an intergenerational household. It was my parents, my uncle, grandma, and grandfather upstairs. So I know the benefits of having the whole family around at all phases of your life. So I want to make sure that when our young people are growing up here, right, that they are able to also enjoy not only their college years, but also enjoy their later years in life. And we only get to do that by making sure that we invest in our seniors. So I want to make sure that that happens here in the city of Boston and through these conversations. And as chair of the Committee on Ways and Means, I'm going to do everything I can in order to make sure that the amendments and resources get to A-Strong, get to the BCYF centers to make sure that the programming and services and resources are there for our A-Strong population. Thank you, Chair, and looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Braden?
Good morning, everyone. Good to see everyone again. I was here as the chair of this committee 2 years ago when we discussed the issue of needing a senior centre here in West Roxbury, and I'm glad to see that as a consequence of that hearing, we had over 200 people here, very vocal, very active advocacy on your part. And so we've had this pilot program for the last while with Ethos in this building, and I'm really looking at the wonderful range of programs that you've had. So I am the district councillor for District 9, Alston Brighton. We do have a senior centre that is housed in a former firehouse, a Victorian firehouse. It has its limitations, but it is a senior centre. We don't have a kitchen, for example, but we have a new director over there in recent years, and she's just brought the place to life. We have a wide range of programming. Many of you may have been over there for St. Patrick's Day or to some of our programs. There's lots of good things happening. So I think as many of us here on this table, we grew up in intergenerational families. We know how important it is for family elders to be connected to the community and to be able to remain in the community and be supported in the community. And I really look forward to the conversation. We want to hear from you today. You're up first. So we want to hear from you folks in the neighbourhood and from anyone from outside the neighbourhood who's attending. Because, you know, as we say, we're going to have a wave of elders increase. I'm one of them, by the way. As we age, we want to stay in our neighbourhoods. We want to stay in our communities. We want to have a full life and to age with dignity. So this is very, very important work, and it should be a huge priority for the city. So thank you all for being here this morning, and thank you, Madam Chair, for chairing this very important hearing.
Thank you. Councillor Mejia. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I love to see this room full, right? Because this is what it looks like when we show up for each other. And I think that this is part of the strategy, is making sure that 2 years ago this place was packed, and consistently you keep showing up. And that is what we need in this moment in time to continue to demonstrate how important this moment is for us to recognize what you want us to do and how you want us to spend our silly dollars on what you want. And so really happy to have you here. Just really quick, my mother is 76 years old, and I am very fortunate because we were able to buy a house. My brother and I share one side with our kids, and my mom lives on the other. And so I'm very fortunate that we get to be in family with one another. But what I have a difficult time with is that my mother is still too poor to retire and refuses to retire, so she's still working. And it breaks my heart when I see, and I go to adult senior centers and I see everyone enjoying their later life, and my mom is not doing that. And so my hope is that through this advocacy, I can share with her how you all showed up today and advocating, because she also likes to have a good fight, and maybe she can join you all at the very least in fighting for more senior programming and giving her something to feel connected to. And so, as I said 2 years ago when I was last here in regards to this issue, you know, I'm here for the long game, right? This conversation really is about where we put our values and where we put our dollars. And I think in having a few brief conversations with some of you all this morning, we want to get to the nitty-gritty of timelines and deadlines, and you know, when we're going to see these commitments come to fruition. And I'm really excited because I know that the administration is just as deeply committed as we are. And our job is to listen and to ensure that we're delivering and working collaboratively to get you all what you've been fighting for. So happy to be here and looking forward to listening so that we can make things happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all my colleagues. I would, before we move on to public testimony, thank Central staff. We don't usually come out into the community, so thank you. We have Ethan and Candace and Michelle and Megan and Shane's here also, so thank you for setting up and coming out here, because if this was a 10 o'clock hearing at City Hall, I bet most of you would not be there, even if you were zooming in or watching, so thank you for that. I do just want to introduce the administration who is there, and then I'll call up the first few public testimony. Thank you to Jose Masso. He's the Chief of Human Services. You guys seem so far away over there. Sorry, I can't see you. So I do know when we first sent out the invites, we wanted to hear from the BHA, Kenzie Block, because we did do a lot of opera funding and advocacy around making sure that there's senior services for those seniors who are living in BHA. Also, BCYF, and I do know that Chief Masso, you can speak to all of that. As the chief, you oversee all of social human services, so thank you for being here. We have Emily Shea, who you all must know, our wonderful commissioner of the Age Strong Commission. Thank you for being here. And Priscilla Foley is the Director of Neighborhood Services from the Boston Public Library, because as you know, the library also provides lots of services. So we're looking forward for them to hear from you, but also to hear from them and what they're going to share back to us. So that being said, I'll call up the first person. When you come up to the microphone, please state your name and your neighborhood so that we know where you're from. But the first one is Marjorie Gann. Okay, come on up, Marjorie. Thank you. And we will have, it's usually 2.5 minutes for public testimony. I'll keep the time just to keep us going, but please take your time. Thank you.
Good morning, members of the Boston City Council and city officials. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for convening this listening session. My name is Marjorie Gann, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer and Interim CEO of Ethos. Ethos is the aging services access point for Southwest Boston, which includes the neighborhoods of Jamaica Plain, Mattapan, Hyde Park, Roslindale, and West Roxbury. Our mission is to promote the independence, dignity, and well-being of the elderly and disabled, and our goal is to foster caregiving, social interaction, and respect cultural diversity. To meet our mission, we've long recognized that we need a presence in the community and that older adults in Southwest Boston want more programming in their neighborhoods. The convergence of these needs led in 2006, so close to 20 years ago, to the development of Senior Palooza, an ambitious effort in the month of May to bring educational and social activities to each of the 5 neighborhoods. And our goal in that period was that in 1 year we would be in one neighborhood, move to the next, to the next, to the next. So we began with activities ranging with everything from health insurance information to scam prevention, with the culminating event being the Senior Prom. The Senior Prom is now an Ethos tradition held every year during Older Americans Month with 400 plus participants. That's a lot of people. Thank you. We also discovered we couldn't move the Senior Prom from neighborhood to neighborhood because not only did we need a large space, we needed one that was ADA accessible and that had the other amenities we need, things like parking and some public transportation. So it's actually held in the Irish Social Club. But at the prom, we have older residents coming together, dancing, eating lunch. We crown a prom king and queen, and I can honestly say we all have a really good time. And the attendance for that certainly demonstrates the need and support for neighborhood-based programming. Our experience with the multi-activity events, such as Senior Palooza, really positioned us well when the opportunity to provide the Pilot Senior Center was presented to us. The Pilot Senior Center really brings together the results of that Health Management Associates study that was alluded to. And it demonstrates that when you've got the combination of location, timing, and programming to meet people's needs, people will come. And we have been as high as 142 people in this space on a single day. That's also a lot of people. So we proved the concept. And we really are looking forward to the expansion of the pilot program to 3 days a week. So in short, we absolutely agree with the findings of the Health Management Associates study that older adults in Boston want programming that's local, that's communicated clearly with an emphasis on recreational and health and fitness. We've long recognized that the program needs to be accessible, that it needs to be located where people can get there, whether it's public transportation or parking, and that it needs to be at times of day that will work for the people we're trying to reach. So thank you for this opportunity, and thank you to the city councilors. It's an exciting time to be in Boston. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marjorie. And I do know that we also had you as a panelist, so I know you'll be here, and if you can stick around after the admin speaks, if anyone has specific questions to Ethos, I know she can answer them. So thank you for that. I do want to recognize your state representative, Billy McGregor is here. Thank you. If you could come up, if you would like to, I know you have an event coming up, but if you would like to, and I know the senator is on his way also, so I do want to give you an opportunity to say hello to, sorry to put you on the spot, but you're an elected official now. You know how to do that now. You're good. I'm not used to it. No, thank you. Thank you for coming, because I know that all of your elected officials here in the...
Good morning, everyone. Great to see you all. As you all know, I'm a big fan of having a senior center out here, and as many of you also, I think we've done chair yoga before and other events. So whatever I can do to support having a senior center here. I know myself and Councilor Weber, we're also reaching out to real estate agents and just reaching out to main streets and just finding out, if there are any places that are vacant that we could utilize. It's hard to find a freestanding building with, with parking on the bus line and, that we can afford. But it is something that we want to do. And we are all working together. We work better together than separate. So, anyway, and then I just wanted to mention Monday, if you're around, and I have some flyers and I can leave them up at the front door, I am having a Red Sox watch party at the Corub. I'm paying for the food.
I'm coming.
All right, see? 3 o'clock at the Corub. Wally, the Green Monster, is going to be there. Tessie, and Chico Walker, who I grew up loving the Red Sox in the 80s. I don't remember Chico Walker, but he was he played for 4 years for us. So, but anyway, just want to let you guys know. Love being your state representative, and if you guys ever need to reach out, I'm always here. So, thank you for bringing this out here. Thank you to the Elks for hosting, but this is amazing to have City Council hearing out here. So, thank you all for coming out here and doing this hearing. And look forward to hearing more.
Awesome, thank you.
Bill.
Susan Stobin, come on up, thank you.
Good morning, all. I'm from West Roxbury. Two-family house down the street. My father's been there 93 years. My grandparents used to live downstairs. Now I get the upstairs. St. Teresa's, St. Clair's, UMass Boston graduate. I am Boston. 20 years, right behind me, VA. I did imaging. 20 years at the Brigham. Now I'm retired. Thank you, Jesus. I don't like getting up in the morning. I want to give a shout out to Carol, running a wonderful program here. Again, with my time, I give back to my community. I am a member of the Elks. I was the first female trustee elected at this place. This area that we have here is getting very full. We're almost maxed out when we come to the programs. They're excellent. And Ethos rents those 2 rooms over there. They don't rent this room. Kenny Williamson, who runs the Elks, is kind enough to let us use this area. But if we want to continue here, I think we need to pony up and rent all 3, open these up and rent all 3 areas. Again, I'm grateful for everything that's here. The other thing we can use in this area, which I don't see, and I'm kind of broken down from all my imaging and lifting patients through the years, we really need a pool in the area. Because as we get older, we know we do better in aquatics and things like that, and that'd be nice to have. And I appreciate all you guys coming,
Awesome, thank you.
and hope everybody has a good day.
Thank you. Linda Perry is next, and I do just want to recognize, thank you, Senator Rush. I think you just want to give a nice wave to everyone. He's here.
Hey, Mikey.
And Ann Cushion, his wonderful assistant, has been here the whole time. Thank you for both being here and all you do.
Hi, I'm Linda Perry, and I live in Rosendale. And I work part-time, not during the day, during the week, but on the weekends I work during the day. I'm here for the people that
you.
can't be here. All right, there are people in our neighborhood who couldn't be here. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about them. Some are homebound. I have 2 friends that are homebound. They can't be with us, and they need services too. One is 80 years old. She lives with her children, and she needs help that way. My brother needs help. He lives in my house, and I live on the 1st floor. My brother lives on the 2nd floor, and my daughter lives on the 3rd floor. So it's all family. And my brother wouldn't come, but he wanted you to know that all he has is time. And time is very finite. And so he doesn't know how long, none of us know how long we're going to live, and he doesn't want to spend it in a line to throw away trash, to throw away hazardous material, or light bulbs, or batteries, or whatever. And he can't stand in a line, and he can't drive and sit in the car too long because he has back problems. And so he wants that changed somehow. And my friend, who is not even 60 years old, is homebound, and he can't leave his house. But he finds ways to distract himself from pain. So I am here to represent all the people that can't be here. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. We have been joined by Councilor Flynn, if you'd like to make an opening statement.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the important work you're doing here throughout the West Roxbury area, supporting seniors. But I think we had this meeting here because we respect the seniors in this community, and we want to ensure that whatever services we can provide are given to the seniors. You've worked hard your entire life. You've contributed greatly to this city, and it's about time that we support you and your families as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda Perry. Sorry, Sandra McCormick.
Couple, yeah.
Is Sandra still here? And then we have, whose email is Mama Mimi? There you go, Mama Mimi. I like that. And then after Mama Mimi will be Alexis, if you both want to come up to the microphone and Alexis Daly is after her. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, councilors. Thank you, committee members. Yes, I am Mama Mimi. And before I read my thing, I will tell you how I was dubbed. I did family child care in West Roxbury for 36 years. The children could not say Maureen, and so they dubbed me Mimi, and then the Italian family came in, thus Mama Mimi. And so that's how I was dubbed with that name. So I want to thank you all for coming to support all of us, because this has been a godsend, truly, truly a godsend. So my name is Maureen Laggy Lyons, AKA Mimi. I've lived in West Roxbury for 53 years now. I was born in Cambridge. I am a Canterbridgian. And so I just wanted to thank and all of you for the opportunity to meet with us this morning, because it's very difficult for us to get into Boston. This was so perfect, and I truly appreciate you moving the mountain to us. And I've had the privilege, I told you, of being a family child care educator for 36 years. I'd like to say a few words about Ethos, the center project. To begin with, I'd like to thank the staff they run this program like a well-oiled machine. We are forever grateful to you for providing us with exceptional classes, breakfast, and lunch. The Senior Center started at the Elks in June of 2023. I believe there were 60 members. I found out about the program in August in 2023, and I joined with a few friends. In November of 2023, there were 348 members with 2,220 total visits. The word spread quickly about this fabulous program, and as of March of 2025, we have 671 members with a total of 13,048 visits. I truly believe that these numbers speak for themselves. I might add that our members are from surrounding areas of Boston, not only West Roxbury. The Senior Center has been a gift to so many of us. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, the programs run with numerous activities, run from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. If I wrote every activity down, it would be a novel instead of, one sheet paper. And I have a tendency to be very wordy, as all of you know. They run when they see me. I am grateful for your support in the past and ask that you continue to support to all of us here to keep us healthy, and as in Denzel Washington once said, in mind, body, and spirit. And I just want to say a few of the programs that they run here: chair yoga, Tai Chi, Broadway seated dance, fitness with Shelley, bingo, sit and stitch, short story groups, community service groups, nutrition seminars, walking groups, senior movement and fitness, mindfulness, IT, where I'm there very often. I got a new phone, and so Teresa, she still has all her hair. Then we had a UCLA memory training, healthy ideas and healthy eating, and small group supports, informational seminars. And we have also had community service projects where we have helped out, and these folks here that are retired on limited income, with the Italian Home for Children, ABCD Winter Clothing Drive, VFW Donation Drive, Sacred Heart Church Adopt a Family Program, where there was a family in need, and we were able to raise clothing and some gift cards for this family. And this is all done from these folks that come here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank you and thank all of you, and especially for Ethos, for the wonderful things that they have done. We are here post-COVID. And in the beginning, the first few times that I was here, people were kind of quiet and sad, and all of a sudden, everybody started to blossom. And it just did my heart so well, and I am forever grateful for this opportunity to speak to you and to thank all of you for your kindness and your help and your continuous support, and for the staff for their hard work here daily.
Thank you. Thank you also for highlighting that this is about the health of our seniors and the isolation, so thank you for that. Alexa is next, and I do just want to recognize that Ben Tague, the neighborhood liaison, is here out there in the crowd somewhere. Oh, there you are. Thank you for being here, always showing up. And I did just want to, I think it was mentioned earlier, but Representative Consalvo, who you know is a strong advocate, is home with laryngitis, because we know he likes to talk. So he would be here if he could be, but he's here in spirit, and I know his wife from Ethos is here. But thank you, Representative Consalvo. So thank you.
Good morning. I'm Alexa Daly. I thank the council for having the hearing here locally, and thank to you in the city. I live in Roslindale. I am a member of JP at Home, and we wanted you guys to know a little more about JP at Home. We are a program of Ethos. We're self-managed and self-financed. We help people with all of our activities stay healthy, in community, stay independent, combat loneliness, and have fun. We're very active. We just celebrated our 10th anniversary. You may have seen the article in the Bulletin a week or so ago. We are here, we want to get our organization better known. We want to get the word out because we do need to expand our membership so that we are able to financially continue what we were doing. And Ethos, we are a program of Ethos. So Ethos manages our program and does the administration, which many of you probably know takes a lot. And we have many, many activities and groups that are started and run by members. So get the name JP at Home in your heads. You can check us out on the web, and thank you very much.
Thank you. We are now going to go to the administrative panel. I'm not sure if you've already decided the order you want to start, but you guys can start. Yeah,
Sure.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you all. Good morning, Chair Murphy, Councilor Weber, Councilor Mejia, Councilor Flynn, Councilor Worrell, Councilor Braden, and Councilor Fitzgerald. For the record, my name is Jose Masso, and I am the Chief of Human Services for the City of Boston. I am joined today by my colleagues, Commissioner Emily Shea of the Age Strong Commission and Priscilla Foley, Director of Neighborhood Services for the Boston Public Library. In my role as Chief of Human Services, I have the pleasure of overseeing the Age Strong Commission, Boston Centers for Youth and Families, and the Boston Public Library, all of which provide direct services, programming, and events for Boston's older adult population. Together as a cabinet, we operate 4 dedicated senior centers, 35 community centers, including 6 standalone pools, and 26 libraries. Each month, our teams provide hundreds of hours of programming, events, and services for older adults. I'm very excited to be here today and to see so many of our older adult residents in attendance. It's wonderful to see some familiar faces and to have this time to hear directly from residents about how we can be a city that better meets the needs of our residents. As Commissioner Shea will share in a moment, we know how important programming is for our older adults. It offers a vital opportunity to connect with others and a chance to be physically active, to learn new skills, and to build community. And the need is something that cuts across all of our neighborhoods throughout the city. Last week, in the State of the City address, Mayor Wu made a commitment to expand programming for older adults in 6 neighborhoods in Boston, including adding a 3rd day of programming right here at the Elks. We're on track to increase the availability of older adult programming by 300% this year. Now, I am part of the sandwich generation, as many of my colleagues had mentioned. I'm raising 2 young children who are BPS students and also looking out for my older parents who live in Hyde Park. My mother, thankfully, turned 75 earlier this month. And upon retiring, I use that loosely because she's working more than she's ever worked before. She now finds herself engaged in programs throughout the city. My mother and I speak daily. And if she has any ideas or complaints, she does not hesitate to let me know. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know you have the best advocate ever in my mother, Davina, so just know that. And I was raised to listen to those who were older than me, whether they were family members or adults who were part of my village. That's what I was taught. And I carry that with me to this day, which is why we were able to respond when we heard the pain points expressed by many of you about 3 years ago. And this predates my time even being Chief of Human Services. Many of you were advocating for the needs way beyond then. I was thankful for when we were able to speak and meet with you all. I met with some community residents before then. About 2 years ago, we had a hearing in this very same room that was packed. And I must say, as happy as I was to see as many people come out that day, the best time I actually had is when I came back and engaged in chair yoga with you all to a very packed room as well. I missed out on the Broadway dancing, but I'll be back for that for sure. Now, I admit there's still more work that needs to be done, and I'm grateful for the progress we have made. I will hand it to Commissioner Shea to share more detail, but I first want to close by thanking the residents who are here today. Your advocacy and leadership is crucial to helping us make the best decisions. We are grateful for your partnership, and with that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Shea. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chief. Hi, everybody. Hi, Council, Chair
Hi,
Murphy,
Hi, Emily.
all the councilors. I appreciate your engagement in this really critical issue. So for the record, my name is Emily Shea, and I serve as the Age Strong Commissioner for the City of Boston. I'm delighted to be here today, especially 2 days after my team was just out here in West Roxbury, where we helped older adults understand and apply for various cost-saving benefits. And I know I already heard a request to come back out, that we didn't have enough slots that day, so we will be back out here again working with you all. We know that financial stability is so important, yet many older adults in Boston face significant challenges. As the cost of living continues to rise, so does the need for comprehensive support. At the same time, our older adult population is growing rapidly, from 88,000 residents over the age of 60 in 2010 to just about 130,000 today. So that's a 48% increase in only 15 years. This demographic shift underscores the urgency of expanding resources and services to ensure older adults can age with dignity, security, and opportunity. But economic security is just one piece of the puzzle. Staying active and socially engaged, as you've already heard today, is an equally important piece of healthy aging. Not only is that what the data says, but that is what we hear loud and clear from all of you and older residents across Boston neighborhoods. That is why at the city, our goal is to ensure that every older adult in Boston has access to welcoming, inclusive spaces that promote physical health, social connection, artistic expression, lifelong learning, and overall wellness, empowering them to thrive. At Age Strong, we use a multi-pronged approach to address this issue through our senior centers, our citywide programming, and our grant making. We operate 2 senior centers in Brighton and in East Boston that are thriving, active spaces. I know many of you counselors have had the opportunity to come by them, but if you haven't, we invite you out, and we invite any of you to come over as well. For our city programming, we meet people where they're at, citing programs in available community spaces, libraries, and BCYF sites throughout the Boston neighborhoods. In FY25, we're on track to provide over 3,000 hours of programming, a 300% increase from last year. We're working to grow regular, multi-day per week programming at sites across the city. And we're also introducing new and exciting partnerships, such as community rowing, which offers older adults the opportunity to learn a new skill and experience rowing on the Charles River. Other innovative programs include free improv classes at Improv Asylum and senior game days at Tavern of Tales. And over 1,200 older adults have had the opportunity to participate in mindfulness classes led by our wellness manager, Bob Linscott, including some of the folks here in this room. We have wonderful partners in this work, like Goddard House, who works with us to bring high-quality arts experiences to older adults across Boston. Most recently, they made a $180,000 investment strengthening creative aging programs by training teaching artists and expanding collaborations with the ICA, MFA, Dorchester Art Project, and Boston Dance Alliance. And we're continuing with our large popular gatherings like our Black History Month event, St. Patrick's Day celebrations, and our Spring Fling. Finally, I want to talk about our grant making. Funding partner organizations to provide programming is another way that we work to meet the diverse needs and interests of Boston's 130,000 older residents. We use $380,000 of our federal Older Americans Act money to fund 19 organizations providing senior center type programming and evidence-based healthy aging classes across Boston. Our partners include places like the Greater Boston Chinese Golden Age Center, Via Aid, Ethos, and South Boston Neighborhood House. And we're in the middle of scoring our next round of expanding engagement grants, where we fund organizations and groups who are working to build community and social connection with older people. We have 92 grant applications totaling $1.8 million in requests, which we will be narrowing down because we have $500,000 to give out. These grants are part of our operating budget. We currently have 37 partners in this initiative, including supporting the senior program here at the Elks, the Nigerian American Civic Association's Chop and Connect program, which combines music, meals, and storytelling, and the Castle Square Tenant Association's efforts to activate programming in their development in the South End. Not only are our external partners important, but we are also fortunate to have many dedicated city partners committed to expanding programming for older adults. We couldn't do this work without BCYF, who not only runs senior centers in Grove Hall and Charlestown, but also the drop-in program at the Mildred and other programming throughout their many community centers. You'll hear next from our library partners about the incredible work that they're doing. And we're grateful for our police and parks partners who help create opportunities and improve access for older people in Boston. As you've heard, we've been very busy, and we have many additional goals. Our next steps include expanding and enhancing programming and partnerships in neighborhoods with identified gaps, increasing access to culturally relevant multilingual programming, introducing a transportation access plan to ensure that older people can easily reach programming sites, launching an interactive virtual and print programming calendar to improve accessibility, and leveraging partners to grow funding and resources to make it all happen. We have made tremendous strides, but we recognize there is still significantly more work to do. We appreciate the council's continued support and look forward to collaborating with city and community partners to ensure equitable opportunities for all older adults in Boston. Thank you. And I will now pass it along to Priscilla Foley from the Boston Public Libraries.
Good morning. I have the privilege of being the Director of Neighborhood Services for the Boston Public Library, overseeing our 25 amazing branches, as well as working very closely with our central colleagues. The dedicated staff at our branches do everything from greeting wonderful, amazing community members as they come in, making book recommendations, and hearing suggestions about the types of programming that people would like to see, including concerts, arts programs, book groups, tax help, computer help, and many other ways that we serve our communities at every branch across the city. We are fortunate in West Roxbury to have worked with the staff at that branch when we had a new staff member that was going to be coming on. And the conversation we had was, what is the best use of that new person? And we brought on a librarian who was focusing on programming for older adults, because the staff there very much recognized that, and this is a brand new position that we have in the library that works closely with our other branches as well as our colleagues at Age Strong and other city departments. We look forward to continuing to bring amazing programs to all of our branches, and in general, when I'm speaking to communities, I'm always like, let me give you my email address. I want to hear from you. And it's very much a flow of communication, because we want to hear what people are interested in, and we want to look at other ways that we can bring amazing film programs, quilting programs. We are purchasing sewing machines for many branches, and as we go into the next fiscal year, we are expanding our library of things, which means we're going to be able to check out more telescopes, binoculars, and other items that people have been asking us for. So we're really excited to be launching that for the next fiscal year. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do just want to recognize that the Commissioner for BCYF, Mata, is here in the crowd somewhere. Thank you for being here, Mata. Thank you. We will do a first round of questions from my colleagues, and then we'll get back to public testimony from all of you. So in order of the lead sponsors first, Councilor Weber. Sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Well, it was great to have public testimony, in part first, because this is all about, helping seniors and the people who've come out here today, and it's great to hear your stories. And I'm sure I speak for the rest of my colleagues, but your stories are what helps us push for stuff like this and increase programming. To prepare for today's hearing, there was a 2017 report on making Boston age-friendly, and there was a 2024 report I talked about earlier. And the one thing that links those two reports is Commissioner Shea, who's photographed in the 2017 report under Mayor Walsh. And so, I think we're all generalists. We deal with a lot. I try to come up with some alliteration. It's like everything from potholes to property taxes. But we have an advocate. I think everyone in this room has an advocate in Commissioner Shea, who's really made a life's work of fighting for seniors. So, yeah.
Council, I'll go on record to say the best commissioner in the country, hands down. Hands
Okay.
down.
Yeah. Chief Masso may be the best at chair yoga among the cabinet, but so I guess Commissioner Shea, this question is really for you, but other folks can talk about it. I mean, so in the October report, it talks about space and increasing space. I think it says according to the state recommendations, we're supposed to have 4 to 6 square feet of senior programming or senior, facilities per senior, and we would by 2030 have around somewhere between 500,000 and 600,000 square feet allotted for program. Do you look at that? State guideline? Does the city look at it? How close are we, or how are we going to get to that goal, I guess?
Sure. So obviously, space is a critical piece of being able to provide good programming for people. And I think it's up to us at the city to utilize kind of all of the city space that we currently have, right? All of our library community rooms, all of our BCYF centers, all of our senior centers. In addition, because those spaces are used, the community centers and the libraries are used by everybody, it's also important for us to identify where there are gaps. And when there are gaps, right, there's often a lot of youth in those spaces, especially in the summer and the vacation weeks. So it's important for us to identify gaps and to figure out additional space, whether that is city space or external space. We've recently been really doing a search for for spaces that we can use and activate regularly throughout the year. And so I'll just name a couple of those that we're starting to activate now. We have the Do-It Center will be coming online for a couple of days a week. That's a space in Roxbury. Will be coming online for a couple of days a week starting in April. We have the Guild in Dorchester that will be activating a couple of days a week, also starting probably in April or maybe in May. We have spontaneous celebrations in Jamaica Plain that we've started activating. We will need to take a break for the summer because youth will be in that space, but we'll be back in there in the fall. We have, and then, let me think, sorry. I think we have a couple of others that have escaped me. But, we're working with the Boston Public Library in the West End to activate that community space there. So we're trying to build on the spaces that the city already has and make sure that we have places that we can activate at least a couple of days a week, and then we'll need to build from there.
Yeah, I will say, here at the Roche Community Center, there's a senior space. They use it for, I don't know, there's senior programming in that space, I think.
For sure, yeah.
Twice a week?
For sure, and Lauren is here. We should give Lauren a shout out back there. Yeah. Lauren is here from the Roche, and so I think, yes, there's a lot of the BCYF programs. Like I had mentioned, a lot of the BCYF programs are activating their space, and then I think you know, it's a balance between what we're able to activate with older adults and when the youth are in those spaces.
Yeah, thank you. And the spontaneous celebrations, I had a chance to visit with them. There was a pop-up there. There was one program I thought was interesting. It was doing some basic sort of physical activity and then moving people to a boathouse in Brighton on the Charles River with the goal of having people row and then putting them on a boat to row down the Charles River, which it sounded fun. I wanted to do that, but they wouldn't let me.
Yeah, they're in conditioning right now for the rowing.
Yeah, I'm not in shape.
They're actually literally taking conditioning classes.
No,
yes.
I'll make the boat sink though. Yes, yeah. No, it was so that I hadn't heard of that one before. Anyone interested in rowing on the Charles, we will apparently help you reach that goal if you haven't done it already, or if you did it a long time ago and want to return. I guess, one thing that comes up in the reports and in terms of these spaces and what I think makes the Elks Lodge successful is transportation. It's easy to get here and to park. We had a hearing last year, Commissioner Shea, where and I think you've said this a number of times, the participation in this pop-up here has exceeded expectations, and it gets people from all over the city. It's not just West Roxbury. The demand in West Roxbury is very high, but this really is an asset for folks from all over the city. What are we doing to make transportation easier for seniors?
Sure.
To get to places like this and the Roche Community Center and
Sure.
spontaneous celebration.
It's our goal over the upcoming year to really try and roll out an overall transportation plan, but we currently have 3 transportation programs. We have the Age Strong Shuttle, we have the Taxi Coupon Program, and we have a small rideshare pilot. And I think that we have modernization that we'd like to do to all 3 of those programs and ways that we'd like to grow resources in those programs, because we know that it's not only important to be able to get to a medical appointment, but it's also important to be able to get to healthy aging programming. As you said, this program here was pretty much immediately successful in full. The Mildred, almost immediately successful in full. This is not unique to Boston. This is, if you build a space for older adults across the country, it will be immediately successful in full because older adults are growing across the country, and our baby boomers have changed everything that they've been through, right? And so now our baby boomers are changing aging, and we need to respond to it. Transportation is an important piece of access, and there's lots of other pieces of access that we're looking at.
Okay, thank you. And I know we've talked a lot about development in the city and its impact on neighborhoods, and the mayor did, unveil the anti-displacement action plan, and I think part of that, I don't know if you want to comment. My sense is part of that anti-displacement, because we need more housing in Boston, and but at the same time we don't want to lose our residents, and push them out of the city. We don't want to lose our local businesses. Have you had discussions, during the construction of that plan about keeping seniors from being displaced? And is there anything in that plan that we should know about?
Sure, we did work with the Planning Advisory Committee to give input and to seek some community input for that plan. And I know that, I won't say too much about it because I know there's an upcoming hearing on it, I think maybe on Monday. But there is an older adult section of the Anti-Displacement Action Plan that really focuses on financial planning and expanding the elderly exemption, which I know that the mayor has been very supportive of and the council has as well. really increasing the income and asset requirements for the 41C elderly exemption. There are a lot of other things throughout the plan that aren't kind of specifically in the older adult section, but that make for communities where people of all ages can stay and that are really important for older adults. And so looking forward to I think getting additional community input on the plan and making sure that we really elevate our older adults as we're thinking about both anti-displacement and then kind of all other city planning and policies that impact people as they age.
Thank you. Just so my colleagues know, I'm starting off the first round with 7 minutes. No, Councilor Mejia, you'd like me to set the stage there. Expectations, thank you. Councilor Fitzgerald, you're next, thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, everyone from the administration, for coming out here today. It's awesome. So I apologize to the audience. I am going to have to do my job and represent Dorchester for a moment and speak just to that neighborhood. But the answers will apply to what you all will need to do as well. I know in East Boston, they have a great senior center, right? But I know it was paid for, I believe, by a casino. And so without dropping a casino, no, was it not? Was it, didn't they
No,
contribute?
we were hoping it was going to be paid for by a casino.
They ended up not doing it?
Well, no, so it's partially funded by Massport.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So aside from putting a casino or an airport in Dorchester to get money for a senior center, what do you see the steps being in terms of a budgetary process? And I know, I know, but for the folks here as well. And what is sort of like the reality of it? Because I know we're up against some constraints, and I don't want to fudge around that, right? It's difficult. But advice for us as the council from you all as to maybe how best to try to approach this to make these things happen.
Well, I don't know. I don't have a capital plan, so.
So advice I would give counselors is just, so I think it's similar to what Commissioner Shea just shared, just in terms of identifying spaces and places, and that's what we've done. So we already just identifying the spaces that already exist, so our community centers, our libraries, our existing senior centers. Now, I know the ideal that everybody has is like creating something new. Spaces at a premium. If we had infinite resources, that's something that you could definitely consider. We don't have that. We have a finite amount of resources available, capital, funding, space, et cetera. What I'll say about Dorchester, and it depends on who you speak to. We just had this conversation about Grove Hall. I consider that to be Dorchester. Nonetheless, I know there's some other folks that have opposing views. We won't get into that space, whatever. We do have an existing senior center there as well. Exciting to see the Grove Hall Community Center, the brand new Grove Hall Community Center that, knock on wood, shovels in the ground this fall, which will also, incorporate a senior space as well. And so, just thinking about along those lines, as Commissioner Shea has shared, looking at the guild to expand programming there too. So I think the recommendation and/or advice, if you will, is to identify existing locations. We want to meet people where they are. We know parking and transportation is the issue, and that's something. The reason why we chose the Elks is because that was one of the biggest things that people, commented on. It was like we want to make sure we have places to park when we get there. So as you are navigating the neighborhood, as you are talking to community members, if you are identifying spaces that would be ideal for folks to be able to activate, let's first explore that. And so, I really want to make sure that we are doing the best that we can in offering programming at existing spaces before we explore building new spaces.
Please.
I would just add something to that the East Boston Senior Center, as I said, it's partially funded by Massport, but it's in a city space that the city was no longer using for the purpose it was originally using it for, right? It's an old library space. So I think as we look at, I think that we could also be looking at how we prioritize older adults as we think about how we're disposing of spaces that are no longer being used for kind of the purpose they were used for before.
Would you happen to have, so in those redos, that the city space that we went in and redid, and you don't have to do a new build, and Lord knows with construction and prices and everything today, that might not, that only makes the route harder to get to to build a senior center. What was do you know a rough estimate of a cost? I'm thinking, so when as developers come in to Dorchester, as people come in, like, where can I start to pull from?
Yeah.
And what is the goal I have to reach to say, okay, we've got a critical mass of money to maybe make, and find a location, and then I can go to you guys and say, I got some funding, I got some this, and I just need a gap filler.
Sure. I'm really good at aging services. I am not a facilities person.
Yeah.
In fact, our senior centers, we don't even manage the space. Property management does that for us. But I would say that for the East Boston Senior Center, which the building, I think it's the old Orion Heights Library. It was pretty well maintained, so they didn't have to do a ton to it. I think it needed like a new roof and maybe some new windows. And it was in we probably started that in 2018, maybe 2019. And that, I think, was about $5.5 million.
Okay.
I think that's probably, I would say that's on the low end for a space. It's actually, it's also a pretty small space. It's about 4,000 square feet.
Gotcha. No, that's helpful. I appreciate that. So the way we're thinking about it across the board is obviously short-term and long-term, right? And that's how I want to, like to say, just even getting this third room to expand activity here at the Elks is a great short-term plan while we look to try and locate, site, and raise money for, and find funding for a more permanent location. And I think I will take that back to my district as well, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilor Worrell?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the administration. Just wanted to also give a big shout out to Commissioner Shea and your team. I know we partnered on a few senior events inside of the district, whether it was the Senior Love Day over at Prince Hall, and then just countless amount of coffee hours across the district. And then shout out to Chief Masso and all your work that you do, and Commissioner Marta, or Commissioner Rivera. And Grove Hall is Dorchester, Chief. Grove Hall is Dorchester.
All day long.
What is the process, or how much funds do we have allocated as a city if we were to find space to provide senior programming? Is there a part of money that the commission, the department has to actually fund, new startup organizations that would provide senior programming? And then what is the process for existing organizations to apply for any funds to provide additional service?
Sure. So I can start maybe with the second one first. What is the process to apply for funds? So we give out our grant funds in a few different buckets. We have our expanding engagement grants, and that grant opportunity for this year, giving out FY25 funds, and the grants will operate over the next year. That just closed on March 13th. And so, as I mentioned in my testimony, we had 92 applications for that, about $1.8 million in requests. We're currently reading and scoring grants, and we have $500,000 in our operating budget, and we'll be issuing those grants sometime next month. We also have a pot of money, $450,000 in our budget for behavioral health grants. That grant opportunity is actually open right now. And so we are trying to get the word out about that, and folks can apply. Actually, I know currently we fund Ethos with some of that money for a Spanish-speaking clinician for their behavioral health, older adult behavioral health program, as well as a number of other folks that we fund for that work. Also very important work. We also give out our federal Older Americans Act funds. We have about $5 million that we give out in federal Older Americans Act funds. The majority of that goes to nutrition, elder nutrition. The federal government says you can spend this much in this category, this much in this category, this much in this category. We have one flexible category in that where we have a little more flexibility to fund local needs. And out of those dollars, we give out $380,000 for social engagement programming, as well as evidence-based healthy aging programs. So we go out to bid for those two pots of money every 2 years. And so we're not out to bid now, but we will be back out to bid for those. Actually, we now do a grant invitation for those programs, and we'll be doing that next spring.
And, yep.
I'm sorry.
Go
What
ahead.
tell me your first one?
The first one is if, a new organization was to find a space to start providing services.
Yeah, or were you asking about our budget?
Right.
And what we had? So our budget, our city operating budget is about $8 million. And within that, we do the best we can to kind of get programming up and running but I will say, in order to meet the vision that we have in terms of accessible programs for all older adults that want them in the city, we will need to grow external partnerships and leverage additional resources.
Got it. And, whether it's here or at the Mildred, it sounds like we're kind of bursting at the seams when it comes for senior programming.
Yeah, I mean, our older adults want to stay active, engaged, healthy, and have fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how often do we reevaluate and increase the funding that goes to the programs that are bursting at the seams?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we've been actively growing both the programs that we're offering and funding for the programs. And if there's any opportunity that you see for external partners that we could advocate to for funding or apply for funding, we'd be more than happy to take you up on that. We know that the need is there. It's just about it's part of it's growing the resources.
Got it. And if there was let's say it's Christmas, right? And we're saying Commissioner access for the amount of resources or capital that you would need from external partners in order to just provide for the demand, right? Whether it's at, the organizations that are in need of increasing capacity, what would that dollar amount be?
Yeah, I mean, I would say we have 130,000 older adults in Boston, and with all of our programs, we're probably scratching the surface of the need.
Okay. When I go to the coffee hours, one of the things that I hear often is transportation is a barrier getting to and from. That our age-strong population not only wants the transportation to go to medical appointments, but grocery stores, but they see the cool things that we do at City Hall or some of the events that's happening downtown, plays. I know that the council allocated more money to help start Healthy Rides. I know that's a pilot program where we're offering 5 rides a year, 5 rides a year to every senior in the city, and it's at any hour of the day, I believe, and it's through Lyft. Can you talk to me about the success of that program, and then are we looking at making that a permanent program here?
Yeah, that program is very successful, and we need to get additional funds for that program in order to kind of make it a permanent program.
Okay, and what's the total cost as of now?
So as of now, we had I'm trying to think, $40,000, I think, Corinne, to start that program. $30,000, 15, 20.
20. And then how many?
You can tell I don't do the work, right? I have to get the answers. We had $20,000 to start the program.
Awesome. And then you know how many rides? $20,000.
I don't off the top of my head, but we can get that information back to you.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Brian. Councilor Brady?
Oh, here we go. Thank you for all the great questions. I think the transportation access is a critical piece because not everyone has a car, not everyone drives, and public transit can be a little undependable at times. So that's one issue that we hear a lot about. Commissioner, and I think we've had this conversation about before, about the local grocery stores are too expensive for our seniors on limited income, and they would like to go to Market Basket from Brighton. So I
Yes.
know that's on
So
your
noted.
list. I know that's on your list. The destination, the Market Basket in Waltham is a prime. Every council for the aging, like Brookline buses their people to Waltham to Market Basket. So just saying. I'm just curious, Commissioner, thinking about the present climate and all the uncertainty, our federal Older Americans funds, are we anticipating any impacts in the immediate term, or what are we thinking about, and how are we preparing for a possible fiscal shock?
Sure. Yes. So currently, Older Americans Act funds through September 30th at the federal level have been level funded with the most current federal budget that was signed. I think that none of us know what will happen with federal funds after that. And I think that we certainly are concerned both about Older Americans Act funds, also about Mass Health, which pays for the majority, probably 70–80% of our in-home, home and community-based services, supporting our older adults who are more homebound and need additional support. We're concerned about many things. I think that we'll need to see how things go. We'll need to advocate together, and I would say that Age Strong is here to help our older residents try to kind of navigate. And we have a couple of things, I guess, that I would just elevate here for folks. I know we were having some Social Security changes in terms of having to access Social Security either digitally or in person. And then we also have the Real ID requirement. So both of those things, I think, could be hard to navigate, and our office is there to help support people who need additional assistance navigating both of those things.
I appreciate that. Is there anything more that we can do to advocate for, like, I'm thinking about our veterans who've, served our country, and they're in such a level of, a huge number of our seniors are also veterans. Are we able to possibly organize advocacy, or is that up to the community itself to organize and advocate for the services for our seniors and our veterans?
Yeah, I mean, I think that certainly the city and the council does its own advocacy, and we'd love to, pair with the community for any advocacy. I think it's going to take all of us at the table to make sure that that people get the resources that they need, and I think that we're going to be navigating some tricky times, but hopefully we can all be here to support each other through that.
Thank you. I think it's going to take us all working together to try and elevate the challenges for our seniors, our elders, and our veterans. It's really critical, I think, at this point to let our voices be heard. So let's work together, and then also reaching out to the veterans organizations to help, a full court press, because, as you say, there's some pretty tricky times ahead of us, and we have to all work together to try and get the best support we can from the federal government for all of us, not especially our seniors and our young people. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So it does seem like someone has raised their hand. Formally, we don't ask questions in the middle, but do you have a specific question you'd like to share? That's okay.
But I was under the impression that this meeting was going to be held to hear from senior citizens as to what senior citizens need.
Absolutely is. So that's why we did start, usually we wait till the very end for all public testimony. We did start with the public testimony first. There are some hard stops on the administration. We have 2 more colleagues who are going to put their questions on the record, and then we're going to go right back to public testimony. Thank you.
You know it's almost 12 o'clock.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Councilor Mejia?
Sally, I appreciate you holding us to task with time, and I will be quick, just so that we can get to the reason why we're all here. And I'll be brief with my questions. I'm curious about a few things. One is the threat on the federal level and some of the funding that potentially can be taken away. I know that's on the hearts and minds of some folks who I've interacted with here today. So curious, how are we grappling with some of the federal funding that potentially, you know, if there are any threats, we'd like to hear what those are. So if you could talk to us a little bit about that. And then I always like to just go, I've said this when working in the nonprofit sector, is that we are resource rich but coordination poor. And I think that there's so many resources already existing here in the city of Boston. And so I'm really happy to hear how the city has tapped into a lot of our nonprofit organizations and are looking to figure out how we utilize spaces and places to do senior programming. I'd like to just advocate for, and so for consideration, and maybe this, you could tell me why or why not, but I know the Boys and Girls Club, they don't operate during the day, so there's might be some spaces there. I also think about the BCYF centers. A lot of the programming is usually after school, and I'd love to see a world when our city resources are used throughout the entire day. So mornings could be for seniors, afternoons for young people, and in the evenings could be for other families around some educational learning time, right? And I'm just curious, what could that potentially look like? And then I'd love to hear, because I have heard from folks about how we can expand this particular site. I would like to hear where we are with some funding as it relates to expanding this place. How much would it cost? I know we keep going back and forth, but I like numbers. I'd like to know if you have a number, what that magic number is, so that we can fight for those dollars in our budget process. And I'd like to know, from a logistical standpoint, the timelining for that. Like, what does that look like in terms of making it happen?
That's a lot of questions, Counselor. So in terms of the federal picture, I think we're all navigating that together, right? News is coming down every day. We're trying to stay on top of it, and we're trying to make sure that we have the information so that we can help people navigate that. I am going to DC tomorrow for a policy briefing around the Older Americans Act funds, and I'll be spending Tuesday up on the Hill, so talking to our federal policymakers. So I think it's important we're all kind of advocating and raising our voices around the federal issues. I should have written it down. For
the community centers, just
for the community centers, we're working hand in hand with BCYF and all the BCYF centers. We've been meeting regularly with them and working on how we can collaborate more together. We've been working with them to identify kind of which pieces will BCYF doing, what pieces is Age Strong bringing to the table to support. As you know, every center is just a little bit different, just like every neighborhood is a little bit different. And so looking forward to even expanding our partnership even further and continuing that work together.
And Council, I just want to add to that as well, is that in addition to each center being, unique, is that we have more flexibility with our standalone centers. And so, of course, we have constraints with our school-based sites. And so we can't operate throughout the school day. That's the reason why we have to have school programming. But what that looks like is exactly what's taking place And if we don't have access to those spaces, is the reason why we were able to enact the programming at our Boston Public Libraries as well. And so, again, you have a dedicated, administration and staff who are focused on addressing this issue. Again, shout out to the Roach and the work that happens there, the Ornberger and Susan and her team, the work that she does there. And excited to share that, next month that the Draper Pool will be coming back online as well. And so, looking at extended programming that's taking place there as well. And so, again, a full commitment to the work that's happening across the city.
So, and then my last question was regarding the programming here.
Oh, right.
And extending that, and what's the dollar amount, and what's the timeline, and,
Sure.
giving us some
Sure.
perspective on what we should be anticipating.
Sure. So for the third day here at the Elks, we're anticipating it will cost about $100,000, which we think we can do through external funds. We're working on the procurement for the space, because in order to pay for space, we have to follow kind of the procurement rules. And so we're working hand in hand with the city's procurement team around that, so that we're doing it in a legal way. We are meeting regularly have met a few times with the Ethos team and kind of working out all the different pieces, so that we can make sure. We want it to be kind of one coordinated program that we're partnering on. We partner with Ethos on many, many things, so I know that I don't anticipate any roadblocks. I would hope that we would be able to have this space, we haven't really chatted about it, but I would hope we'd be able to have it kind of up and running, I would say by May.
Wow.
But some of that depends on the procurement piece of things.
That's great. And that means the whole, this piece, because I know I heard earlier was some of the spaces out there, but I know that there was some interest in utilizing this space here too, so I'm just curious, is that part of the negotiating?
Yeah, so I will say for the third day, the city will be able to pay for 1 day of space, and for the third day, we are planning to rent the entire space. And I know that, I'm not sure what Ethos, I know Ethos knows that they need more. I'm looking, so many Ethos people here. I know that they need more space. I think in terms of procurements, we would need to procure a different way and go out to RFP if we paid for any more than 1 day. So we're trying to kind of figure out what our options are.
Thank you for that. And I'll just end with, for me, it's always important in making sure that everybody wins, right? This is what creative and innovative ways of approaching this issue, where you are able to utilize the space. There's some income coming here. So I think that that's a really good model, and I'm happy to see. And hopefully you all feel like we're making some progress. 2 years later, we're moving. So I just want to say thank you for your leadership in this space. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will go to Councilor Flynn and then back to public testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and again, thank you for providing leadership on this important issue. I'll make one comment and one question. I know I'm here to listen to residents talk about what's important to them, so I'll try to be brief. Here's my comment. Several weeks ago, I was with Senator Michael Rush, who was here earlier, and Congressman Lynch. We were out in front of the West Roxbury VA facility, and we were fighting against cuts to the Veterans Administration health care. That's also going to impact seniors significantly. I spend a lot of time in Jamaica Plain, VA, in West Roxbury, and see a lot of Boston residents that get their care there. I'm going to continue advocating against these cuts. I'm going down to DC again to advocate against cuts to the VA. It will have a devastating impact on the city. But also, I'm going to hold my council colleagues accountable also, that we can't cut the City of Boston veterans budget either. That's also important. That's my comment. Here's my question to the Commissioner. Commissioner, can you tell us what areas of the city currently do not have any type of city programming for our seniors?
I don't know that there are, I don't know that there are any areas that have none now. Whether, if you count kind of all of our partners providing programs and H Strong and BCYFs and libraries, what I would say is that I don't think that any area probably has enough.
But is there any area, I know that we don't have enough, but is there any area specifically that has very limited services for our seniors that it's almost, it's extremely difficult to provide that service to seniors?
Yeah, so what I would say is the areas that we're kind of seeking additional space. So, for example, where we're rolling out, trying to roll out the Guild in Four Corners, there's not a lot in that area of Dorchester. There's probably there's not a lot right now, kind of in the south area of Dorchester. We're looking for kind of a space in kind of the Adams Village, Ashmont, Lower Mills kind of area. There could be more going on in JP, which is why we activated spontaneous celebrations. We're looking forward to the new Mass General space that's coming online in the West End to try to activate that. And certainly if there are folks out there, or if you on the council feel like there are other areas that don't have enough, we're interested in looking at that. Right now we're taking a kind of citywide approach, and we're trying to put the puzzle pieces together with what we fund, what our partners do, and what we do, and we're trying to identify gaps. We're also looking at gaps for different populations. Especially, there are populations of people that don't speak English that we want to make sure also have access to programming. So it's like a big puzzle.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next up is Peter Engel. And while you come up, I know Councilor Weber just had one question, but please try to.
Yeah, thank you. And I know, I think I've talked to a lot of you about how the quick way to increase programming is through what we're doing with Ethos, but long-term senior centers, especially in a place like West Roxbury, I think is needed. I don't know, just as a show of hands, who here wants to see a senior center in West Roxbury? Okay, thank you. I just think it's. Okay, how many of you attend Tuesday and Thursday at Ethos? And yeah, clearly. And then who here will attend a third day if they have one at Ethos? Okay, great. Okay, well, thank you. I just wanted to, we're here to make the case, in the long term for a senior center. And I guess my question to the panel is, have you looked at any places? Have you, one of the things we've talked about is Walgreens closed. I know State Rep McGregor and I have reached out to Main Streets and the potential buyers. So yeah, the rumor is Trader Joe's is coming in. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Anyway, so we don't know what's happening. Any discussions? Any locations that you've looked at in West Roxbury? I'm sorry, Peter, to delay you here, but if the panel has any answers to that.
I don't have any answers to that. I would say for the council members to continue this conversation with capital projects and PFD. Those would be the appropriate parties to be able to explore, what planning looks like in the city of Boston. And we'll have some of the answers to the questions that you're asking in regards to access to funding, et cetera. As of right now, our dedication to expanding programming and making sure in the short term, our older adults have the resources and the services that they need. Again, in the short term, while also keeping an eye on long term as well, is definitely going to be critical. Commissioner, you have anything to add to that? I do have a hard stop, Chair Murphy, as you are aware of, and so I do apologize. I do have to exit. To the residents in the audience, I just want to thank you. Sally brought up a really good point. This conversation could have been had over email or in person, and this was a space for you to be able to ask the questions and talk to us directly. I'm going to make sure you have my contact information so we can follow up if there's anything that relates to the work that we're doing that we could be supportive of. And that goes for all of you all as well. So, and Commissioner Shea will be here as well. And so if there's any follow-up questions that you have, please feel free to ask our colleagues here on the panel. And thank you all again.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
And thank you, Peter. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Peter Engel. I'm also a member of JP at Home. I am a retired geriatric physician, VA physician. I spent a lot of my time taking care of vets across the street at the West Roxbury VA, and am super supportive of vets, as well as older people who aren't vets. I just wanted to put the care of older people in some perspective and major issues for the counselor. Thanks you all for coming here to visit us. Some of the major issues, and some of them have already come up, are housing, and I'd wonder about plans for multi-generational housing, since there is a serious housing shortage in Boston. And many people live in multi-generational families. There are a lot of positive aspects of that, and adapting housing so that babies and mothers and dads, grandmas and grandpas can live together in a way that's safe, accommodating, and comfortable. Seems like it would be an efficient way to expand housing and strengthen our community as well as family relations. Another super important aspect of caring for older people is mobility. And there are many aspects of that, including safe places to walk. In JP at Home, we have a walking group. Walking improves health. Walking is a way of socializing as you're walking around. It's a way of getting to the store and getting what you need. Like improving the sidewalks in Boston could make a huge difference to make it safer for everybody, not just elderly people, but everybody. Healthcare, super important, and for a lot of older people, having access to quality healthcare is essential, and care of people as they get older, and when disabilities creep up, and having a good means of access to the sorts of help they need is essential. Our population of older people is getting bigger. You mentioned 130,000, but they're also getting healthier. That is, it may take longer now to get older than it used to. I think that would be important in terms of what do you need when you're 65, what do you need when you're 85, what do you need when you're 95. And one of the things that happens with aging is transitions. Like giving up work is a big deal. It certainly was for me. Julia Mejia, your mom, is still working, right? But that may be an important part of her identity and meaning, and the transition can be pretty tough. So as a physician, it was very tough to give up some of that doctor stuff. And, I felt pretty important as a doctor. And then I didn't feel very important anymore after I retired. So making provisions for supporting people and helping with the transition, and I think all of these efforts to provide activities and meaning and purpose in people's lives at the time of retirement is an essential part of that transition time. Another point which I think is very important, and I don't think anybody has brought it up, is caregiver support. And Ben Weber, you told a story of your family and your dad. I heard stories like that all the time during my career. And I did want to emphasize that there's really under-recognition of, first of all, the difficulty of that kind of transition for your dad, for thousands of dads and moms, and the difficulty of that transition for the people who are caring for them. It's really underappreciated, and it needs to be recognized and appreciated. That is support for people in multi-generation families where the caregivers who have a lot of responsibilities have some access to resources and support so they can make it through that time, as can the elder in the family, in a way that makes it less difficult. So those are, one more point about outfits like JP at Home. Jamaica Plain Home, which I got in after I had a heart attack and was about as close to death as anybody could be. That's when we learned about JP at Home. Well, I totally recovered, and like now I'm bicycling, taking 20-mile bike rides during the summer, like shouldn't have happened. JP at Home is structured and financed largely by its members, but there are a lot of people in the community that is, it's sort of suitable for middle income or high income elders. But there are a lot of people in the community who could tremendously benefit from programs like JP at Home if they had some financial support, that is funding, some kind of scholarship. And I'd like to advocate for that, and maybe through Age Strong or some other funding source. However, it can be done under the wing of Ethos, I think would open up this wonderful organization to a lot more people. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Is Mike Russo still here? Do we know if Mike Russo would like to speak next? He's all set, okay. And we have been joined by Councilor Pepin. Thank you. If you want to just say hello, and I'm going to call up the next person. Dot, you are next, so if you want to come on up, Dot Valenti.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. City Councilor Enrique Pepin here for District 5, representing the neighborhoods of Rosendale, Hyde Park, and Mattapan. Honored for being here today. Sorry I was late. I was at a transportation meeting in my district, on the other side of my district, but it's a pleasure to be here. I'm just here to listen to what the needs are as the other councilor that represents the other half of the Parkway. I know that a senior center has been asked for here for quite some time, so excited to hear the comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess it's afternoon now. Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. And it sounds to me that you're on our side, which is important to us. I haven't got a lot to say about programming and everything, except that what we have here is almost like a family since its inception, really, and it's been growing and growing and growing. It means so much to me, as I'm sure it does for most of the people who come here every day or every 2 days that we're here, and possibly a third one now. Most of us are alone and aging, and nobody wants to get old, but it happens. It happens. Everybody has to be aware of that, and it happens a lot faster than anybody anticipates. To have something like this, to be able to come to and really relax, you can do as you please. You just want to sit and talk and have a cup of coffee, that's fine. If you want to engage in all the activities that they have, that's fine too, and they're very adaptable to most of us. So from my heart, I want to thank Ethos and the people who run the programs here. I also would like to reiterate that BCYF also has programs that are adaptable for us seniors as well. So just from my heart, I want to thank you for your programs and thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dot. Up next is Jan Hamilton.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jan Hamilton. Wonderful to see a good turnout here, as always. And I'm going to give, if we have the time, just about a 5-minute history lesson for the creation of this program, which is, and first of all, I want to thank everybody here, city councilors, our state rep and state senator, because they got the approval way back when people that are now dead wanted the senior center here. I'm 78, and people come here that are up into their 90s, but the people before that were requesting, because the percentage of seniors in this area of the city has been high, notoriously over 20%. 3 or 4 years ago, part of West Roxbury and Rosendale was more than 20%. So I was part of the group that originally started advocating for a senior center in the Parkway area. And it isn't necessarily, we on purpose don't call it. It's not the West Roxbury Pilot Center, it's the Parkway Pilot Center. And because we get state funds, people come in from as far away as, well, not far away. We have some that come in from Framingham that somebody joined us and is a member here, and they have company that are seniors that are coming in to visit them, so they bring them here to the center, which is absolutely, it's wonderful because the environment here is just so inviting, so warming, and the way that the schedule is made out. This is a typical schedule, which we get a month in advance, okay, which has all the activities, what's involved in it, okay? And on the very top of it, so from 3 years ago, when I was up here actually speaking, and I think I made the statement that that you made, that Emily made, if you build it, we'll come. And I remember at that meeting, Dot, who spoke prior to me, she said she hoped to God that we had something in this area before she was dead. And that was part of our request, that please, 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 can we please have something in this area for seniors? Because we knew at that time that seniors had been, as along with everybody else, coming off the pandemic. Seniors were in their houses, okay, with no contact with another human being, day in, day out, you know, getting services, maybe getting some food delivery from Meals on Wheels. That was their contact with the person. So when this first started, and as I think Mimi mentioned, it first started, there were only about 60 of us here. But we put flyers out. We put flyers out at St. John's. We did it in the stores in Center Street. We did it at the three churches, Holy Name. So flyers, 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 get the word out. And that's why I'm telling this story, because if you want to open other senior centers and everything, use the word of mouth. Use those seniors. Use the advertisements. This we get online every month in advance. So I saw somebody that was in there yesterday in our Thursday session, and I forget, she may be here now, but she's circling what she's coming to. Yeah, no, she's not here now. I remember who it was. But she's circling what she's coming to on Tuesday and Thursday. That's very important. And just to, I want to go to the back page on this, that this comes out every Tuesday, every Thursday, and it's listed by hour, so you can mark, you can look at everything that you want to join. So, and one of the Mimi alluded to this, the drop-in tech program, it is awesome. Her program has taken off like you wouldn't believe, because she helps us with our laptops, our phones, and once a month, she gives a presentation on something, which is wonderful. That's attended now by about 40 or 45 of us once a month, that we come in and we can get personal attention, or we can schedule a meeting with her for tech support and stuff like that. But the thing that I wanted to point out is here, so now we're up to 693. This here is as of April 1st, so it's through May 3rd, May yesterday, through that date, okay? Now we have signed up for the programs 693 unique individuals. Total visits since our inception of a year ago, June, 13,938 visits in that length of time. So that's why I wanted to recap the history of this program, because it is so sorely needed around the city. I wish this here is a gem of the city, and I feel as though we're the extension of the Emerald Necklace. Thank you for Ethos and the city, the state reps, everybody that has created this, because this here is what people need. Seniors really need this. And one other thing I just want to say, and that is, when we first come in here every morning at 9 o'clock, our first program isn't until 10 o'clock. You know what it is, 9 to 10? It's coffee hour. And they have coffee, they have tea, they have pastries, they have fresh fruit, and we sit around the tables and we chit-chat before we decide, before we go to the programs. But that's what has made that the success of this program, I believe, is that when we get together first thing in the morning, at first people didn't talk that well. No, I can't say that. Even from the first time when 60 of us were together, because everybody was just so happy to be together. And somebody, one other individual paying attention to that one-on-one conversations, what that does for us. You know, it's just unbelievable. So I think that's it for what I want to say, and I want to thank everybody that's made this program possible, and I want to give a shout out, Ethos all the way, but especially for my good friend here from the very, very beginning. Well, everybody with Ethos, I see Carol, and I see a lot of them here. Carol does this, by the way, and Carol didn't talk, but Carol does this. She heads up all the programs in here, but my very good friend, Ann Glora from Ethos, and we go back. I go back with Ann Glora at least 10 or 12 years and doing programs with Tai Chi and all those other programs. So that's it for me. So thank you all so much for listening.
Thank you, Jan. Next is Margot Coletti.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Margot.
Hi. Hi, everybody. My name is Margot Coletti. I am 72 years old, and I reside in Mattapan. I want to thank everybody who's come here today, and I want to thank everybody who has funded. I want everybody who has fought for the funding for all the programs that I have been able to take advantage of. 6 years ago, I retired retired to take care of my younger sister, who's 66, and she is schizoaffective and autistic. So she lived at the time in Florida with another sibling. Before that, she was living in Illinois, where my mother was, and she cannot live by herself. So we as a family decided that Massachusetts was the best place for her. Specifically, Boston was the best place for her, which I found out a lot more about when she came. So she came to me 6 years ago. I was scared to death, and I didn't know what I was doing. I had never been a caregiver before, and I hadn't lived with my little sister since she was 12 years old and I was 18. I hadn't even lived in the same state as her in all that time. And my very good friend Linda Kogut, who some of you know, she told me, get with Ethos, call them before she comes. So I did. I connected with Ethos, and they set Mary Jo up with all of these programs, we had a home health aide who came in and cleaned Mary Jo's room and the first floor, which I just loved. Although in the beginning, I was like, I don't want no stranger coming into my house. But then I got used to it, and she became a wonderful, almost member of the family. After 3 years, they also set her up with Meals on Wheels and a couple other services, nutrition counseling, and I forget what else. And after 3 years, I couldn't take care of her anymore. She became very unsteady, and I live in a 3-story townhouse, and she was falling down the stairs. I am not a professional, and I made a big screw up with her medication once, which scared the hell out of me, and I thought she needs professional help. And I was fortunate enough to get her placed in Mount Pleasant Rest Home. And I didn't know that. I asked, do you have other people with major mental illness here? And they said yes. And like Mary Jo, it's controlled with medication. And I don't know who those other residents are who may have major mental health problems, but I know Mary Jo is one of them. And I cannot say enough good things about Mount Pleasant Rest Home. It's the best place on earth. They have the best staff on earth. So I am here for two reasons. One is to express gratitude. I have immense gratitude for everybody who works for the city and the state who has made all these things possible. And the other is I have a little bit of anxiety, not a little, a lot of anxiety about what's happening with the federal government. And I am here to ask you if there's anything that we can do. We're here advocating for ourselves. We would like to be advocating for ourselves at the federal level and advocating for each other. None of us wants to see our veterans end up in terrible situations because they can't get the health care that they need. None of us wants to see people whose Medicare, good God, everybody here probably in this room receives Medicare and Social Security. If anything were to happen to either of those programs, and they are both very much in danger, we wouldn't know what to do. So we're here to ask, I'm here to ask if there's anything that we can do to advocate for ourselves on that federal level. Thank you.
Thank you. Sally Cohen?
Go, Sally. Yay.
It's your turn, Sally.
I didn't imagine that I was going to be in front of you and speaking to a whole lot of you. It's very frightening. I just had ideas about what I would like to see for senior citizens in the area. I'm 73 years old. I'm a very, very old resident of Boston, and at the same time, I'm very, very new. I grew up in Boston. I grew up in Dorchester, Mattapan. I went to Hyde Park High School. I went to Northeastern University, got a master's degree at BU, and then fell in love with a boy from New Jersey, and I got exiled to New Jersey.
Sorry to hear that.
But I'm back here. I'm back here. My 3 children are in different points in the United States. They're far, far away. And I'm back here because I said, oh, we still have a tiny, decrepit little house in Hyannis. That's where I'm going to go. And I don't want to be there in the winter. You don't want to be there in the winter. I love Boston, and I've come back. But I've come back to a different city. I'm the last of 6 kids. We grew up, we were Greek immigrants, we came to the United States, we worked hard, we did well. I am the American dream. Now I'm a senior citizen, and as the last of 6 kids, guess who's getting to take care of who's left? I have a brother who's 84 years old, and he just had a knee transplant, a knee replacement, yes? And I have a sister who's 76, and she is developmentally disabled, and I am overwhelmed. So I need help. She needs a place to go. She's very healthy, but she's developmentally disabled, and there's no place for her to go. My brother needs help. He's very hard of hearing, and he's very stubborn. If I say to him, don't walk without the cane, it doesn't matter. If someone else, a visiting nurse, a visiting physical therapist, says don't walk without a cane, it matters. I need help. We need technological help because my 2 siblings cannot handle a cell phone. They need a landline. 90% of the calls that come to the landline are you-know-who, people who want to sell you insurance, a grave plot, blah, blah, blah. I can't imagine why a country of this caliber, who 50 years ago put a man on the moon, cannot figure out how to keep people from calling up to sell us insurance. How many of you have a dog? Raise your hand.
Got two.
Only one person? I'm surprised.
Got some
Two.
up here.
Oh, here. There is no dog park in West Roxbury. I have a big, beautiful dog that's now living down south because there's no place for him to run. I take him to Heinz Field. I walk with him on the little leash. He's 110 pounds. I don't want to give him up. But where can he run? Millennium Park? Is there a dog park in Millennium Park? No. Dogs need to socialize with other dogs, just like humans need to socialize with other humans. Why can't there be a dog park in West Roxbury? Who owns the land behind the Atrius building, Atrius Health Building that's on Route 1, that's across the street from Hancock Village? Who owns all that land back there? I go back there with the dog, it's littered with garbage. Does anyone know who owns all that land? The city. Why isn't there a dog park there? Heinz Field is very pretty. There should be a dog park there. There's a place for little children to play. There's a place for basketball players to play. There's a running path you can go around. But people go there with dogs because dogs need to socialize like people need to socialize. Why can't one be put there? There's room. A dog park you have to have fencing around it. You have to have benches for old people to sit. You have to have trees. So they're going to go there with their dogs and be in shade and not in sun. That's all I had to say. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Bill Taub.
Hi, everybody. You're safe from me because I no longer drive. My name is Bill Taub, and I am visually impaired. And I serve on the H-1 Commission's Senior Advisory Council. I think I'm the only person from West Roxbury on the council. I urge you all to join if you want to have a voice. Commissioner Shea, thank you for the improv classes that I just finished. There were 20 of us. We got to go to the improv asylum, and we had fun. Next week, there'll be ceramic classes in Rosendale for 10 of us. I haven't done ceramic since I was in elementary school, I think 5th grade. Now I'm going to get serious. The Boston Public Library, according to its website, has only one computer for people who are blind or visually impaired like me. It's a disgrace. It's the worst library in the country. It would only cost $500 per computer, per library, for a computer for people who are blind and visually impaired. Child who's blind and visually impaired can't use a computer at the library. That's a disgrace. And lastly, there are people in this room who have heard me speak about this. And I've written reports and made recommendations to the Boston Public Library. And here's the sad part. The Boston Public Library is not in compliance with the ADA Act, the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, Section 504. I've researched other libraries across the country. Cambridge, Newton, Seattle. Why Seattle? Because it's the comparable size of population of Boston. Boston Public Library is the worst library in the country for assistive technology if you're blind or visually impaired like me. And lastly, please raise your hand if you sing or you play an instrument, please. There's an amazing nonprofit where you can go and sing and record your music, and I was there last night listening to jazz. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Sarah DeLeo, are you here, Sarah? Lawyer, she left. Did anyone else, that's the last one who has formally signed up. Is there anyone else in the room who would like to come up and speak? If you, yeah, go ahead. Sure, go ahead. It's all right.
Sorry, I'm Margot Coletti from Mattapan, and I just forgot to mention one thing, and that is that Senior Boston Home Care was also instrumental in helping me. They set me up, invited me to a caregiver support group, and that made all the difference in the world, because a lot of us are caregivers here in spite of our age, and it only gets harder as you get older. And you need the support. I needed the support. I was in tears all the time until I got into this caregiver support group. So that's all. Oh, and one more thing, just because I've always wanted to say this, I yield my time back, Madam Chair.
Wow, thank you. And you know what, I love when my colleagues say that and they have no time to yield back, but they say it anyway. It's like, wow, thank you. We are going to go through a second round of questions or comments from our colleagues. We'll start with the lead sponsor, Councilor Weber.
Okay, I guess, we heard from Bill Taub and I guess Priscilla. Oh, okay.
They're going to have a chance also.
Oh, okay. Sure. I have a comment, but Priscilla, did you have a response to that? Basically, what we're talking about is access, just to the library, for people who are, having trouble seeing or hearing or getting around, like, specifically, I know I've talked to Bill Taub about this a lot, and I'm just interested to hear what the public library is doing.
Well, I appreciate your comments. I will be working with our IT department on the comments that you made. We have heard these from other comments. We've also worked with Age Strong to do an assessment to make sure that our buildings are friendlier for people that are having memory issues, and we're also working with the Disability Commission and making assessments for all of our buildings. The computer question, I appreciate that, and we'll, if it's possible, I'd like to be able to get your contact information so I can follow up. That would be really helpful to me.
Yeah, Bill, I know we'll talk about this, and I met with Sheila Scott here at West Roxbury. Yeah, I'm just saying I talked to Sheila Scott at the West Roxbury Library about this this week, and they say they've been working with you anyway. But Bill, did you have? Yeah, I'll listen, and then I'll let you know what Bill's saying.
Just so we can all hear you, please. Thank you. I don't want to not have everyone hear you.
I've been studying this for 5 years. It's not very hard to do. In every computer in the Boston Public Library, there is software built into the operating system, Windows or Apple. It's free. It's called a screen reader. It converts text to audio. What else does the library need? Headset. City has hundreds of them. What else do you need? Well, you need a lamp so people like me can see the keyboard. If a library doesn't have a keyboard with yellow keys, you can buy yellow stickers. On Amazon, they cost less than $15. What's the big cost? 127-inch 4K high-definition monitor. So people who are seniors don't have my eyesight disease, but can see it better. Total cost, as I said, less than $500 per computer per library. Total cost, less than $15,000. Pretty simple. It's not a lot of money. And I'm very lucky and I'm very grateful because I get services from Massability and Easter Seals. My eyesight has taken me around the world. literally. And there are lots of organizations that are willing to help the city of Boston make the city of Boston the best city in the world for seniors. It's all there. Less than $15,000.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Yeah, I don't have any other questions. I know it's a long time to sit here. I'm really happy that we could have this on site. This is the second hearing the council's hosted here. Hopefully there'll be more. I will certainly push for that. I do think we have partners here, I know in Ms. Foley and especially Commissioner Shea, who care deeply about the community, and we're going to do whatever we can to fill the need. And so I look forward to working with the mayor's office and, my colleagues here on the council to continue increasing the amount of programming we have, looking for ways to build a senior center out here in West Roxbury, and listening to you and everyone else in the community who needs the services. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilor Fitzgerald?
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate my colleagues for coming out here today. Appreciate the council staff for hosting this meeting today, and to the administration for their guidance on some of my questions, and my other colleagues. I don't really have any further questions, unless, folks, I would like to give my time to you all if there's any other comments or concerns. But if not, we can move on. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Fitzgerald. Councilor Mejia?
Thank you. I'd like to thank Councilor Weber for continuing to sound the alarm and bringing us here to West Roxbury, where we belong, right, listening to the people. So I just want to thank you, Councilor Weber, for your intentionality. Oftentimes we do hearings at City Hall. I think there's something beautiful about being in community with people, and so I just want to thank you for making sure that we continue to have this conversation here in the heart of West Roxbury, where it belongs. And I want to thank everyone for showing up. As I mentioned earlier, showing up is half the battle. And I think that the more that we do, the more that it's a visual indicator to us as city councilors and also to the administration that y'all mean business, right? Y'all mean business, right? Now, the question is really about, what do we do with this information? And I'm, as I said in the past, my office is dedicated to ensuring that we work alongside Councilor Weber and our colleagues here to ensure that you have the resources that you need to make this happen. And then I just want to thank the folks who spoke and raised a few new things, because I think that oftentimes in communities where you can really listen and learn, like the issues around accessibility, that's information justice. If you can't actually be able to see and read and understand and comprehend, those are the issues that we need to address on the city council. So I just want to say thank you for raising it here and giving us some more work to do. Councilor Weber, I'm here for that. And it's only $15,000. Are we sure that's it? Because that's an easy fix.
It's a legal fix, so we'll get that done, yeah.
That's a retail. Okay, I know we're on a bootleg budget nowadays, considering everything that we're going through right now, but $15,000 is $15,000, and I think that there's 13 city councilors, and if each of us said $1,000 towards our little budget negotiating that we want to put towards this, I think that that's something that we can do collectively.
You can get behind that,
and I think
yeah.
that is how we do the people's business, right? So I think $15,000. Commissioner Shea, is coming your way, and also you over the library to make things happen, right? Now, hold me accountable to that, but I need everybody on board with it, okay? And then lastly, I hope that my mom is able to retire one day, but I think you said something, Doctor, so important that I think helps me understand probably her why. It's more than just economics. I think it gives her a sense of purpose, and it helps her stay mentally healthy, because isolation is real. And even though her kids live next door, I think that because she has a community that's consistent, I'm sure that's probably another reason why she's not willing to give up the job. So it was a good reminder for you to say that, because it made me think about my mom's journey differently, and maybe me giving her a little bit of slack to say, okay, you can keep working as long as you can. But, so thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mejia. Councilor Flynn?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to my colleagues, the administration, to City Council staff, but especially to the residents for being here today, listening, asking excellent questions, advocating for a new center in the Parkway for our seniors, which I support. I want to say thank you to Councilor Murphy and Councilor Weber for their advocacy, and Councilor Mejia as well, for their advocacy in trying to get a new center here in the Parkway area. My final point is I'd like to go forward with a City Council hearing order to discuss how we can ensure that all our spaces are accessible for persons with disabilities, including in the library, and want to make sure that we respect all people with disabilities. I'm a disabled veteran, as many of you know, but I also know that there's a lot of challenges that we face, seniors face, and we want to make sure every space is accessible to seniors and persons with disabilities. That's a federal law. We don't have the luxury to abide by it or not. We have to abide by it. That's the law. So it's important that we do have a formal discussion about that. I have a good relationship with the Commissioner of Disability Rights at City Hall, Commissioner McCosh, and I'm sure she'd be glad to participate. But it's something that we must do here in the city, is ensure every space is accessible to persons with disabilities and our seniors. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Flynn. Councilor Pepin?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And to my colleagues, thank you for hosting this hearing. I think that it's always beautiful to have a hearing in the community because it really changes the dynamic of the conversation, where we get to listen directly from the residents in a room that's packed, and that really does influence us when it comes to the decision making. For me, I look at this view of a senior center even from a more broader perspective, in a more holistic way, because it's about having a senior-friendly city. And literally where I was at this morning was a group of residents over near the Mildred Ave Community Center. They were asking for more time to be able to cross the street, to be able to have a safer crosswalk, to have better, so that cars have better visibility when they're trying to cross the street there. And there's a senior program at the Mildred right there, so that's who I was with. And when I think about the work that we're doing today and making sure that there's ADA compliance in our buildings, I also think about our street infrastructure. So I love to take everything into consideration, and I'm here to continue to support my colleagues in this fight, because I know that this area has been fighting for this for quite some time now. You have an ally in me here, so thank you all so much for coming out, and I look forward to continuing the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Pepin. So I will just make a few comments, and then I'll pass it back over if the administration wants any closing remarks. But thank you all for showing up. I know when I do come out to West Roxbury Parkway community, you are always here, and thank you for voicing, your concerns and your ideas, because many of you did say it, but not everyone can show up and not everyone feels comfortable advocating for themselves. So for those of you who did speak up, just know that you are speaking for so many others, so I appreciate that. Just a few thoughts that I will be bringing back. We talk about this new master facility plans and BPS, which we're still waiting to get that hearing scheduled. But as we talk about closing some of our schools and merging schools, we should be identifying some in neighborhoods that could be used as senior centers, because there is no plan yet for what we'll be doing, or at least not shared with us yet what we'll be doing with those spaces. I also want to say I'm born in 1970, so when the community centers, right, the Orenberger is out here, I was at the Murphy Community Center. We did a better job sharing our spaces in the 70s, 80s, 90s that we don't do now. And I know that property management just last summer did take over managing our BCYF facilities, but those shared spaces during the school day were shared. And my grandmother was having lunch in the senior room while I was in kindergarten, and then I remember vividly that we, our severely disabled students would be in the pool, and the seniors would be swimming with them. It was just, I know it was a different time, but now it does seem like it's very rigid when BCYF centers can open, when we can staff them. I do know that the library now is open another day, but we know that many of our spaces on the weekends, both days aren't open. So I think we do need to look more at how we can use the spaces we have more efficiently and have them, and we talk, I have a story like so many, intergenerational. I was always felt so fortunate that my children had great grandparents for many years, and so grew up with grandparents. And my mom, my dad's in his 90s, my mom is in her late 70s. My two aunts still go to work, a very similar story to Councilor Mejia. They're in their 80s and don't want to give up work, and I do know that it's because of those, relationships. It's so important that we keep people connected. And I know dogs, I do have to also say, one of the things I learned when we had the meetings a couple years ago about budget requests, the number one thing people came on to advocate for were dog parks, because it's so part of the isolation and having spaces to show up with our pets and be out there. But I do just want to give one shout out, our community police officers. I know you have wonderful ones here in West Roxbury and across the city, but many of the events I go to in neighborhoods across the city, like in Charlestown, in the North End, are sponsored senior events by our community police officers. So the police department and that community policing do a wonderful job. So there's many different departments that step up and do programming with our seniors, so I want to thank them across the city, and just know that we on the council are here to advocate. We have to get that third day over, the finish line, and then talk about where gaps across the city where we also need other programming. I know it's something Commissioner Shea and I have talked about a lot, but if either of you would like to make some closing statements, please do, and then we can move on.
Sure. I don't want to take up too much more time, except just to thank you all for coming out. Thank you, council, for elevating these issues. And, I think together we can make Boston a good place where we all can age well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the feedback, the opportunity, and we always want to hear as much from our counselors and our communities to improve our services, so thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, this hearing on docket 0261 is adjourned.
How about that?